Welcome back to Sports Talk Podcast 81 with me, John Vick. I'm going to be talking about UFC right now. I want to talk about one of the fights that I knew on UFC 327. Apparently, that was difficult. Apparently, Jarvis lost to Kronos. I think he's a Puerto Rican or Mexican, depending on what he is. I'm not used to new names that much. He won his fight against Juniors, and apparently I know it was a one lopsided battle, but they get into the chokehold in the third round, and that's what happened. And you got Gutman versus Nuts. He won his match against, well, first you had Jose and Karen, and he won his match against Karen. Apparently, it was a one lopsided battle with that one. I forgot about that one. And yeah, I think it was a good match overall. But the problem is with that is that it was a one lopsided battle for the first round. I heard, and it wasn't that bad. But where it would lie, it was something that we can do. Then you had Comp versus Nats, and they both fought pretty good matches in that one. But that was a pretty good UFC 327. Apparently, that was pretty good for UFC Today, and I hope the fights were pretty interesting. They were interesting. I think the one fight was pretty interesting as far as I know. But on to what I want to really discuss with this episode is who deserves a title fight within the division of the men and women. I mean, I got Alexander. I think he deserved the top 5 more than anything else. He hasn't been the champion for the last 3 years in this division. So last time I think Alexander, I think he was the last time he was champion. It was last year, I think, pretty much. And I think he deserves another title fight. But he's going to climb there. Jack Darren, he's another fighter. And I think he doesn't deserve the title fight because I think he would abuse it. Ass will be another one, but he's not as good. And Turk would be, if he would be, because he would be one of the close fighters that can be able to fight. But I think Alex deserves the title fight. Jack, on the other hand, I think he deserves more of it for his division. But time will tell with that one, to where everything counts. But yeah, I mean, every fighter's different. I mean, you have so many fighters that are different in the UFC. Anything else, but the last 3 are women, actually. Matt's, Alex's, Glenn's, I can't pronounce her last name, and Rose are the ones that might deserve a female title shot in the women's division, but I don't think neither of them deserve a women's title shot. I don't think any of them don't. I kind of really disagree with women fighting in the octagon, because when I was growing up, it was mainly men. Now all of a sudden women getting involved in sport, and it's crazy. But anyway, I think Mary might deserve the title fight more than anything than Rosa. Rosa and her went tit for tat last time I checked, and they kind of really went tit for tat in the women's division. It was like crazy. But no, I mean, back to the men actually on this one, because but I say Q would deserve another title spot if he gets his rematch clause from Dana White, and apparently that would be interesting. The ones that deserve the title, if in any of that division, would be Alexander. I think he deserves the title fight more than anything else. Zach and Ass and Target, it's iffy with me with these 3, because it was like Alex deserves a title fight. The last time I think he had a title fight was back in 2011 or 2015, and then he had to climb back up the ladder. So time will tell with him getting the next title fight. And some of these fighters that I've seen in today's society, much rather than legends like Chuck Liddell, Samrock, TRTs, so many of these great MMA fighters that fight today still, but they'll go in the professional level of UFC. They're going to look at some of these fighters like it's more than just telling the title. You have to fight for it. But I see Chuck Liddell arguing that. I see TRTs arguing it. Samrock, I would say, arguing it mostly. Ever Ken Samrock, he is going to argue with it. And then you have, I wouldn't say Brock Lesnar. He's not going to argue it. A couple good fighters that know when to argue with it. They're going to argue with a lot of these new fighters that are coming into UFC. But revoking the rematch clause, I think it's interesting that they could do it. But I would say the two people that I know that might have in the men's division that might have a chance to get a title shot would be Alex and Jack. I think they're the ones that deserve most of the title shot. But I think it all depends on what they can do. So we'll find out what these fighters can do more than anything else. As on the women's side of it, I don't know about their title because it's like I don't follow the women as much. But Rose, on the other hand, she's been real cocky lately when it comes to UFC and the Octagon. And it's like she's been real cocky in the last couple of months. And Rose, on the other hand, she was more cocky than anything else. And it was like something that she couldn't. I remember one fight. She got into a big argument with one fighter. Rose was like, I'm bigger and stronger than you. I can beat you. There was a lot of controversy to that. And I remember watching it on YouTube. YouTube, TV. The whole 9 yards. It was a big media circus between her and the other fighter. So, but no, I mean, in the women's division, Asa might be able to make a move in the middleweight division. Jack, on the other hand, he might not make it, but this is more the men's division I'm talking about mostly. Alexander maybe would be interesting. But do I think any of the other fighters that fought in UFC 327 deserves a rematch clause? I doubt it. Josh would be the only one. Jar would be the only one. That's 2 out of the ones that I've seen that want a rematch clause. And I don't think that they really could give the guy a rematch clause. It might not happen. That's up to Dana White. Dana White has the advantage to make all these decisions. And some of the women actually that are in the UFC are kind of really cocky and being told jerks more like jackasses. And a lot of people are jackasses when it comes to hailing a title fight. I've seen it in wrestling too many times. I've seen it in WWE too many times where they get too big for their britches and they become jackasses about it. Edge was one of them. Mark Henry was another one. Farouk was another one. There's a lot of cocky fighters. I mean, Terry was another one. The Undertaker, he was another one back in the day. You know, it was like you get a lot of cocky fighters that know what they think. They think they're the best. I mean, heck, when Brock Lesnar got into the UFC, he thought he was the best. Thought he was untouchable until he got knocked out by that one fighter. And I think that was I can't think of his name. I've seen him fight a couple times, but and I don't like people like when they get cocky in any sport. I mean, it comes with the territory. Yeah, we're all human. We get cocky, and it comes with the territory between if you're not an athlete, if you're not a podcast announcer like I am, but it happens everywhere in real life. You get cocky. You see that every day. Even people like me does get cocky now and then, but I don't abuse it where it turns into a big mess. But no, it's like crazy. But no, in the women's division, I think Rose deserves, but I don't think she deserves another title shot. But it's crazy when you think about it. I cannot stand people like that. I mean, there's a couple of men in there also. I mean, Chuck Liddell was one of them. He still is. I love his fighting style. T. Ortiz, Leonard Silva, a couple of their MMA fighters that know what to do, what they're doing. I like how their style is. I love it. But it depends on the fighters themselves. Depends on how they use it. I mean, that's one thing about it that they can't really understand. You know, if you want me to cover more UFC stuff, let me know in the comments down below on the channel. Like and subscribe to the channel. I'll talk sports 24/7 if I have to. You know, but that's all I want to discuss for today is the UFC part of it. I did do at least another video. If you guys haven't checked that out, check that video out today too. And this is my second video today. So until next time, John Vick signing off for Sports Podcast 81. Take care.